Hi, I'm David McNeil. Thank you for purchasing your new WeatherTech AVM floor mats. The purpose of this video is to teach you how to safely install and correctly install one of our AVM floor mats. When you first get the floor mats, they come on a hanger, and on the back there's a pair of retention devices, mat grips, so you can secure the driver's mat in place in your vehicle. I highly recommend that you use them. Now let me explain this floor mat. This area is to be trimmed, if necessary, for the dead pedal on the far left of your footwell, the driver's footwell. This is for the gas pedal area. You always want to make sure you have plenty of clearance so the gas pedal is not touching the floor mat and not going to touch the floor mat. So you want lots of clearance there. The back trim marks are for, let's say, seat tracks. On the side, gas door and trunk releases. So I'll show you how to install this floor mat, and I've got some tools. I've got a magic marker, I've got a little X-Acto knife, and I've got a pair of scissors. Put the floor mat in, and you just kind of lay it in there and kind of get a scope of what you're going to have to do to make it fit. Now the theory here is to measure twice, cut once, and then when you're cutting, do one row at a time. Don't take a big hunk out because it's hard to go back. So with this mat, I'm looking at it, it's obviously too wide. I can see that this ear goes up. I can see I'm riding up on the side over here where the dead pedal is. And I'm looking back at this seat mounting bracket. So I'm thinking that the water retention area needs to be in front of that seat bracket. So I'm going to move the mat a little bit forward so that I know when I trim it, it's going to be in front of the seat bracket. The next thing I'm looking at on this Ford Explorer, I'm saying, hey, if I notch these two out, that gives us a basis of a place to start for trimming this floor mat. So I'm going to trim this out and then we're going to put it back in. You do one area at a time. You don't try to trim a whole bunch of things at once. Invariably, you trim too much. So the trimming process, I know exactly which ones I wanted to take out. Those four. So get a pair of good sharp scissors. You trim it right along the score lines. And there it is. Now you're going to get a number of these on some vehicles, and you can put them in the garbage or you can send them back to McNeil Automotive and we'll recycle them and make another floor mat out of them. So our next step is put the floor mat back in the vehicle and see how that's fitting. Hey, we can see we're making progress. This now looks finished off at this back edge. I'm looking at the front by the gas pedal, and I can say that that little ear that sticks out the side, that's perfect on some vehicles, needs to come off. So I've marked those, and those have to get trimmed off. So we're going to do that. Now this is one of these things where I'm going to do actually two areas at the same time because I feel very safe about that. We're also going to knock off this outer row here, all the way up. Okay, let's see how this one fits. pretty close. Now I'm looking at the gas pedal, and I can see that the bottom of the gas pedal is within about an inch or so of the top of the floor mat. I like a little more clearance than that. I like a lot of clearance. I don't ever want the floor mat to get involved with the gas pedal. So we're going to take this whole chunk out here and make sure the floor mat stays well away from the gas pedal. Pretty nice fit. I checked the gas pedal area, lots of clearance. Brake pedal. The seat's much higher than the floor mat, so it's not going to get caught on it if the seat has to move forward. I think we've got a pretty darn good fitting floor mat here. So the next step is to use the mat grips that came in your bag. Instructions. Both mat grips. What you want to make sure is that the hook is facing backwards when the floor mat is on it, so the floor mat doesn't move forwards. The floor mat has a membrane, very thin membrane, in the areas where the mat grip hooks through. So what we've got to do is this is where our little X-Acto knife comes. Magic marker. And I just push up. And I'm going to trim it around it. Hole's nicely done. Now we're going to do the second hole. Again, I'm going to take my Sharpie magic marker, just push it up into the hole, stretching the membrane up a little bit, trim around it. So now we have two holes. The hook goes in. Again, it faces backwards. Now we've got to install the hook. Making sure the floor mat's exactly where you would like it in the car. I take the Sharpie, take the cap off, and just put a little black dot on the floor. It's kind of a transfer of locations. Take the floor mat out. Push down first to get the mat grip to puncture the backing of the carpet. Tighten it up. The mat grip also says forward on the top of the mat grip. Reasonably tight. There we go. Put our floor mat in place. Two mat grips installed. Poking through the floor mat, facing backwards. Again, we check the gas pedal, the brake pedal, and make sure there's plenty of clearance from the floor mat. Next, we're going to do the passenger side of the 2008 Ford Explorer. But the principles I'm using as far as how to locate the mat, how to trim it, are universal across virtually all vehicles.